housekeeping rules, we ask that everybody put your cell phones on vibrate, not turn them on, put them on vibrate. We know it's an election going on. We're not gonna address any candidate in particular. If you have a question about something that's been said, we'll be happy to answer it. We ask that everyone be respectful and courteous. And other than that, we're gonna get started. We're gonna start off. We're gonna start off with the prayer and the pledge.
We would like to start with a prayer and flag, if y'all don't mind saying.
And the prayer and the pledge. All right, we're gonna get Councilman Gibbs to start us off with an opening prayer, please.
Bow your heads, please. Dear Father, just thank you for this afternoon. Thank you for allowing us to come together, be able to bring our thoughts and our ideas, Lord, and our concerns to out in the open, Lord, so that we can become one, so that we can grow as one, so that we can do things to benefit this community, Lord, to make it better for us and our grandkids and all the kids after us, Lord. And Lord, just thank you for the beautiful weather we've had. Thank you for all the things you do for us and you continue to bless us with. And in your name I pray. Amen.
We have a flag in our hearts.
There you go.
I pledge
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so we're gonna open this up. Click.
So basically, to kind of give y'all an idea, is me and Eric and I discussed and talked about having a town hall meeting, and of course, we was hoping that we would have, more, y'all are citizens, don't get me wrong, but we do have a few here, but at the same time, more people who are not kind of sort of in the know, kind of already understanding what's going on. But for the few that are here, I am glad to have y'all. Basically what it is an open forum. It's a Q&A. We did not come with an agenda to talk about any certain things or whatever. We do have a few things that we may go over just to kind of clear up some stuff, or maybe say, does anybody have any questions about this or this? And it may go, yeah, you know what, I hadn't thought about that. I do have a question about that. But this is just open forum, just an open Q&A. We'll do our best to answer. Now that we got a room full of one commissioner and council members, if we can't answer it, we're going to go to them. But other than that, it's pretty much just open to anyone. So we're here to answer anything y'all have. Any questions?
Don't y'all all speak up.
George, you got a flag. Hey, at least you went kind. Thank you.
All right, this is gonna be a short meeting. We don't have any questions. Anybody have anything on anything? Yes, sir.
I have a question. What kind of publicity did you give for this meeting to the general public? If any.
We actually put it on Facebook. We actually sent it to the city of Valdosta and asked them to publicize it on their Facebook page also. We had WLB met me and we did an interview on this also with Rashawn, I think is his name, WLB. But also Daily Times, Eric contacted them about that. So we, about a month ago, we started putting it out there for everyone.
We also did flyers, we placed them on people's mailboxes.
What about radio stations? Some people still listen to radio, they're not on Facebook, that type of thing. I'm just asking a question to get it started.
No, sir. I did not reach out to any radio station.
Because I think it's a great idea. I know it's a great idea. And when I hear people on the street that's always condemning the mayor, city, and county government elected officials, and then when they have these meetings, the general public is nowhere to be found for the most part. And I can only imagine you as elected officials, how frustrated you must get to be criticized, and then when you have a meeting, so few people come out. And this is not a negative thing, but this is indeed a truth thing.
discouraging.
Well, Mr. Ryan, I just think all of this that we're doing, everyone in here who's an elected official, we just want to make sure that our citizens are educated. You know, when they go out to vote, we want them to know what they're voting about. And after the election is over, they come out and ask these questions. If, you know, everyone's busy, they have families to tend to, they can't all make city council meetings. So we want them to know what our local government is doing, what we're trying to get accomplished. We just really want them to be involved in the process, because all of that makes our city, county stronger when everyone knows what's going on. So if they can't attend, we want to have these meetings because they're later than our 5:30 city council meetings.
By the way, I forgot to identify myself. I'm George Boss Ryan. I'm with the Get To Free Press. Sorry, I didn't get my name. So I can identify myself.
I'd like to say this, everybody knows something. I've tried this for years, and I did everything that I could do to notify the community. And a lot of times nobody showed up but me and Hope County. Hope County was the chairperson. And I just, if you give away some chicken, folks come. You give some chicken away at your barbecue, you know, they'll come. But usually, you elected officials, when individuals come to council meetings, it can be packed, or they're on an issue. Quick as you address that issue, what happens? They out the door, you know? And that might sound funny what I say, but the only way I know how you get about is fried chicken. You don't give the chicken away till after the meeting.
One way to look at it is that you're doing a good job. Because in my 45 years of experience with homeowner associations, same thing. If everything was going smooth, they didn't show up. Now, if it wasn't going smooth, they had a complaint, that's when they showed up. So if they had a lot of complaints, you probably had, like this gentleman just said, if there's an issue that they're really hot about, they'll fill the room. When you're doing a good job, unfortunately, or fortunately, depends on how you look at it. I'm just putting a positive spin on that. You must be doing a good job.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I agree with the people not coming and everything like that. I believe also in consistency. One of the things I know on the council, I said I was going to start doing, because I tried to have a town hall meeting. I think I had 8 people there about 2 months ago. I had one of my plans to go every 2 months. I'm going to have one. Regardless of you come, and yes, Sonny, the idea about some food will help out though. That's one thing I said. Well, that is what I'm going to advertise. Rather than anybody coming out, I'm going to make it available to the citizens. And I think just being consistent with it, maybe more and more might come and more. My goal is to get information to the citizens about what's going on. It will stop me in church. It will stop me in where they stop me in church, they stop me in stores, everywhere. The problems with everything they want. And I say, come here and tell me they don't come. So I think they tell you the town hall meeting is whatever they bring it in. I'm not going to discuss it while I'm coming out of church, before I walk to church. I ain't going to discuss it while I'm going on. I'm not going to discuss it at any other time. That's one thing. That's just one of my things to get started. They got all these things that they want the others. Walking in the street, I'm on the track walking. They catch you up with the admin right problem. Catch me at this meeting every 2 months. We can discuss it. That's what I'm about to do. Because they won't come. They always take your time for what they want. That's one of my goals, and I said I'm just going to be consistent with it. Every 2 months, we're going to have a time out meeting. And I'm not asking anybody questions. I'm talking to them about what they want to talk about. And we can have it about.
So where, you said earlier you were retired, so where you retired from?
From two public school districts. I worked 28 years with special education children, and I was a children's librarian, and I was a social worker before that in child protective services.
I'm an educator too.
Pardon me?
I'm an educator also. I
Oh,
teach.
okay.
We got another,
And we have another retired educator. Yes, sir. So we're from, what city?
We're from Seal Beach, California. which
Okay,
is in
California.
Orange County.
Okay.
Don't hold that against
Yeah,
us.
please don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What brought y'all from California to that month ago?
Texas.
Pardon me?
Texas.
California to Valdosta, Georgia.
Yes.
Okay.
And we're very happy to be here.
Glad to have y'all. Glad to have y'all. Y'all in Stone Creek, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so, to kind of bring you up to what we're at now is, of course, we're in the election year. So right now, we, have our, I know we talked about not, but I'm just letting you know since you're here, that in November, you've got, council, I guess you got District 1, 3, 5, and 7. 7 is our city council at large, and the other ones are our districts. You have, you've got this SPLOST that's on the agenda, on the referendum to be voted on, which is our projects that we have in place that is done county and citywide. Is there any commissioners running in this election?
it's the city, it's the
And
municipal election.
Mr. Gibbs left off the mayor.
And
We
also the mayor
elected
race.
the mayor, because our outgoing mayor, he said
He's retiring, his wife is making retire. But no, he's, it's mayor,
The SPOS though is a county-wide vote.
and that's a county-wide vote. It's a SPLOST, that's what I'm saying, it's all these county, it's county and city projects, all wide projects, and we have some up there, some information if you want to look at it afterwards. We have, the VALDOSTA-LOWNDES, if comprehensive park recreation master plan that's going on right now. That's happening. There will be some more times to meet on that, and it's listening from the public perspective, ideas on how we need our recreation to be better, our parks, our outdoor, our walking tracks, anything dealing with recreation-wise, our senior citizens center here, how we can make it better, all kinds of things. So that's going on at the moment. We just had, I believe, about a week or two ago, we had 3 days of listening sessions in Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And there will be some more times coming up that you'll have an opportunity to kind of speak about and talk about. Of course, you can go to board meetings at any point in time and actually kind of voice your thoughts and ideas that you may have to kind of better, make things a lot better for our community. Some of the other things we've been talking about is, transit system, about whether or not we can bring it here, whether or not we can sustain it if we do get it, whether or not is this the right time to have it done. So we've been discussing that at some council meetings. We've talked about, we've got a new See, Click, and Fix app that a lot of people are not aware of. And if you got an iPhone, a Samsung, or an Android or something like that, you actually can download the app. And any issues, any problems, any concerns you have, you can use that app to utilize it. So that's just to kind of bring you up to speed to some degree where we're at. So,
Well, I'll just interject if I may, that if you want to find out when things are happening, both the city and the county's websites will provide you a lot of information. You are, and then they have links to other organizations that you can find out when different groups are meeting.
I like to add something about SPLOST. SPLOST is the 1% sales tax that is divided with the county and the municipalities in the county. But that's not a new tax. It's just a vote on to renew it and continuation of it. And I believe it's a 6-year, 1 penny tax that we use in the whole property taxes down and the surrounding counties come in, we estimate they pay 50 or 55 cents out of every dollar that come in. do sell tax, but it's not an additional tax. Sunset on it every 6 years. It could be 5 years or 6 years. And January, December 31st will make it 6 years. We put it out because we want to renew it for another 6 years. But we use it for capital. You can't use it for, the only thing you can use it is for capital project. You can't use it for paying for staff and anything else like that. It has strictly go for capital. And for a number of years, we shifted away from the property tax mostly. Matter of fact, the city doesn't have no property. We don't have any injections against our, this ain't the right word, but property tax. Now downtown is a special tax district downtown. Our water and sewer is in the city is paid for, not entirely, by user's fee. We have to use some of splash money, the cost of repairing it in the ground and what have you. But I told somebody today if water and sewer had to pay the total costs of the operation and the repairs of the old part of town, your water bill probably around $200 a month. But you know, we supplement some on the capital side, which I think is I know they're very important because there are a lot of things the city kind of did with that fire station, this building, and others if we done through wash.
And we also have our local school board elections this term. We have, I think, District 2.
Pretty much mirrors the city council.
Yeah, they have
135,
135,
7.
Yeah, they have local school board elections. And a lot of the things that we have spent money on this past 2 years has been our infrastructure. Our, most of you know, all our cities are getting older. They're just getting older, and all our infrastructure is old. But we can't worry about. I know we've heard talk of the $1 trillion stimulus coming for infrastructure, but we can't wait on that. VALDOSTA is getting older, and in order for us to keep up with industry to come here to be able to provide them with water and sewer, we have to do it ourselves. So if we do get to the point where we get the stimulus coming through, I'm quite sure we have some with it, but that's where most of our money is coming, most of our splash money is going to. But when your wife, who knew the time, that's where most of our money is spent on our splash towards our infrastructure, making sure that our water and sewer is
I think
able to
we
produce everything
earmarked
we need.
$40,000 towards the water, 40 million towards our.
Andy?
Yes, sir.
No. Well, let me just say, I wasn't going to say anything, but y'all started talking a little bit about the school system. I'm Scott Ornstein, District 2 County Commissioner, and for those of you who don't know, County Commissioner does represent certain parts of the city as well. So the north side of the city of Valdosta is my district as well. So Tim and I work together when we can, and I said that to say that we love the city of Valdosta, and the city of Valdosta is important to us. My wife's an educator. She owns, started to say but she owns 14, 15, 16 homes inside the city limits, so we're taxpayers as well. But talking about education, I just kind of like to know if y'all feel like we're getting there. We talked about the school board vote coming up. Are we getting there with the school board and the Valdosta City school system and proving that where you're an educator, my wife's an educator, that the city of Valdosta has a fine school system, and that we have the IB program. It just seems like for the longest time there has been this flight to the county schools, and it seemed to cause an issue inside the city. And I don't want to, I know that this conversation can go real deep, but I'm just curious if lately, if y'all have had conversations with the city school representatives and what you're seeing. And let me say this one thing that I'm really proud to say is I'm in the construction business. I recently did a renovation for a couple coming out of Germany. She's flying from Qatar to Afghanistan, and they're both military. He's a fighter pilot. And the point I'm making is that they deliberately selected a house in Cherry Creek North because it was inside the city of Valdosta. Their circle of friends all over the world understands and hears about the success of our IB program and how great the city of Valdosta school system is. So although all of her friends were in Stone Creek, she selected a home inside the city of Valdosta as opposed to Lowndes County. So I see things are starting to kind of turn around, and I was just curious if y'all are seeing kind of the same thing, if we're fixing that problem as a community.
Scotty, I appreciate that question. My wife's also on the school board, but I want to address that question in another manner. We all know, because we're in this community, we already know Valdosta High School Valdosta City School has one of the best programs in the nation. But what we have to think about is locally, what do we do to impact that? I mean, I can go right now to you and say, Scotty, bring your kids to go to school in the city. You know this is good school. But when we have our people like the Board of Realtors who sell homes saying county schools versus city schools, we automatically know what that means. That's kind of jargon for white kids, black kids in the city. So we have to stop hurting ourselves with this, because if you go out there and watch the graduation rate and you see the kids walking across the stage, you see just as many white kids as you see black kids. So that's things that we do that's a self-inflicted wounds to our community. Just like you said, they can go on the internet and Google it and say how good our IB program is. We have to tell our own local community to do the same. I mean, you think about it. If you're selling, you're in construction, you would never tell anyone to say, we're going to segregate. Because your business is to sell homes and to make money. You don't care where the money's coming from, if it's Valdosta High School or Lowndes County. But we have to get our own citizens to stop doing it. The rivalry ends Wednesday night. That's it. After the football game is over, we need to be one. What's good for you in the county is good for the city. And once we get to that, once we start realizing it, we will be better as a community. We have to stop. Because I'll tell you, that hurt me. We talked about it at our retreat. Our retreat we have once a year. Our own businesses, right here, we can't be separated on that. I'm trying to stop Mr. Gibbs from speaking on it because he's a member of the Valdosta City School System. I don't want him to get himself in trouble because I'm not hiring.
No, the thing of it, but to talk about, are we heading in the right direction, or what are we doing good? I have, I teach in the city, and I have great friends that go to the county, and everybody's around. But it's like I had this conversation the other day with someone who, we were talking about school systems in general. And I said, they both bring their own great things to the table. County has, the FFA, they have archery, they have the TSA program, they have all these great things that, that meet the things that some people need. That's what they want. They want FFA, they want the cows and the hogs, and that's the things that they want to do. And then you've got some that want the IB programs, and they want the STEM Academy, which is why we've got the new STEM building at Valdosta Middle School. And they want these other, so I think it's a matter of, in my opinion, it's like I tell my kids, I do punting and kicking lessons, and they always ask me, Coach Gibbs, what college should I go to? And I always say, pick a college that gears towards what you want to learn, gears towards what fits you, gears towards what you want to be, where you want to go. If STEM is it, if that's your thing, if IB program is it, and it's not here in the county, that's fine. It's not a problem with that. Then go that way. Then go to the city, But pick what's best for you and your family and what you're wanting to accomplish with your life and your goals and your agenda in life. But it goes back to, the sad part is that we do have that. We just, had someone that just, and I don't want to name any names, but we just had someone to come and move to this area. And the first thing he said to me was, whenever we got approached by a realtor, and they said, you don't want to go to city schools, you want to go to the county. And he asked me, why would they say that? And I said, I don't know. I don't understand why they would do that. You know, and that's where you got to stop that, because both school systems are good. And if you take that even further to the economic development side of it all, that all trickles up north to Atlanta, where a lot of jobs come in. And people hear that. People hear those conversations, and people understand that, hey, you know, why is that like this? Why is there that division sort of between people saying you don't want to be here, you don't want, because we had the economic development group to come in, Pat Wilson and them to come in. I don't know if y'all had a chance to meet him or not, but the first thing he said they do is that the companies nowadays, it used to be the reverse. They would call up and say, hey, we got a company, we want to go to a location, this is what we want to do. And then they would find like 4 or 5 locations and say, here are the locations that are great, that's going to meet your need. Now it's reverse. They call up Pat and them and go, here are the 5 places we want to go. Now go out and get us some incentives and some benefits and make it better for us. And that's when we're going to go. And so it's kind of reverse now. But I say that to say that the first thing they look at is workforce. And the second thing they look at is the schools and their graduation rates. Because if your high schools are not producing great graduation rates, then in their mind they're not producing great workforce, and their mind is we're not going to come and spend millions of dollars to come here. So my thing is, and they said the third thing is bad for us is the media. Is the media, the newspapers, everything, because the more negative, they look at all that. They're already looking years ahead, months ahead, and those are the things they look at and see everybody's getting along, graduation rates up, everybody's passing, schools are perfect, they're awesome, no matter what school system it is. That is what attracts more people to this area, and the more businesses we bring, the more our economy grows, the better off we are as a whole. So that's, you know, that's kind of, so both school systems are great. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem sending my kid to either one of them. My child goes to school at city schools because I'm in the city schools. And it's easy for us to go to, and they go to school with me, one does, and the other one goes to Silas Mahone, and because it's more convenient for where we live at. So there's no, you know, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I have no issues with the county. I don't teach in the county. I have no, you know, I live in the city, so. Maybe else have a question?
Yeah, my question is, do we subsidize, the city subsidize rainwater and park recreation and airport?
Yes, his question was, does the city subsidize rainwater, parks and rec, and the airport? And my question is, yes, we do. We do subsidize.
No. We have
Well, it's not, it's technically jargon. We do give rainwater out of the city budget. They won't call it subsidized, but we do give them money. Is that correct?
No, the state mandates part of that.
Right.
Hotel motel tax is what they get. The state mandates, we have to provide a minimum percentage of that hotel motel tax for tourism related functions. The airport authority, is part of theirs to go to a tax. And, what was the other one?
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec has a dedicated building.
Dedicated fund.
And we supplement Matthews through that tax, but we don't supplement. This was a special tax that was designed for that. And if you didn't have hotel, motel taxes, you wouldn't have that. That was the way that we funded rainwater when it was built, and it dictated. They dictated, Tim, you probably could tell, and Beth can tell them better, that the law dictated the state laws.
State law.
No, state law tells us what it is that you have to do to use it. I mean, for example,
They
they
get
got.
40% off the
Huh?
time. They get 40% off the
Yeah.
time.
I don't care where the money comes from. I want to know whether or not you'll subsidize rainwater, the airport, and, what's the other?
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec. I don't care where the money comes from, whether the city allows us to subsidize or support whatever the service.
Notice the people that are staying in those hotels here in our community every night are paying an extra tax.
It's
Folks that are staying in our hotels are paying that.
It's a
So
hotel.
if you stay in a
motel tax.
motel, a hotel,
That's where that money's coming from.
But your city does not pay it, is that right? I just want to.
No, the city doesn't actually write a check for the hotel and motel. It's taken out of that special tax that we have.
You're all right to check, but you get money from somewhere else.
Right. The money comes from hotel and motel tax.
Well, but property, the Parks and Rec though, they have
Parks and Rec.
a 1.25 mil countywide millage that goes directly to the Parks and Rec.
Now, that's Parks and Rec, but not rainwater and, the airport.
So when Parks and Rec has tournaments here, when the Parks and Rec with all the tennis tournaments, softball tournaments, all that comes here, that is where Parks and Rec gets a little bit of money from people who rent the fields and rent the facilities and all this stuff. But the people who stay in the motels and hotels pay that extra tax like they were saying, which goes towards the conference center and so forth.
Has there been any effort to, I know that they've launched, or they've linked the runway, was about a mile and a half there. So that would cause us to be able to bring in larger airplanes with a few more people, even though they're still not costing something on the line of 787 or something like that. So have they made anything for maybe us to bring in other airlines so that we can fly from, instead of just to Hartfield, we could go to Tampa, we could go to Miami, and then to bring in business for our community?
I know the changes that, I can't speak on airport, I'm on airport authority. You can?
Yeah. The issue is not the length, the only law that added length does allow for larger aircraft to land here. The issue is the airline companies. And currently Delta is the only airline that serves Valdosta through ASA. And what they see when they do a business analysis is there's not enough passengers to support a service that would fly somewhere other than Atlanta.
What if we only did one more day? We had a Tampa run, we had a Miami run.
Well, I'm not an airline.
No, I'm just asking because until we bring in other businesses or the communities that would like them on. Look at Lake Park. You go to Lake Park, it's a ghost town.
Tim, I think the other thing too is inbound flights. They don't, it's kind of like a shipping company. You don't want to bring anything back in as well. So if something's coming back from a city like Tampa, they want that plane full coming back in.
But now we have this, the airport has, for a number of times over the years, tried to get, down to Tampa, flying down the Florida, and we wasn't, they wasn't able to get an airline willing to do that. Now, I just don't remember all the details of it, but it has been looked into.
Because I know, I'm going to say that I have to look, I can go to reservations and look, I'm going to say Delta, which is what Delta Air France. Delta flies to all of these different airports. We wouldn't even have to get a different airline to come in. Delta flies to Miami because Delta
We
flies.
have tried it, it has been looked into.
They go to
It just hasn't been successful getting them to do
Their
it.
problem is that if the plane left here flying to say Miami,
Right.
there wouldn't be enough passengers to get on the plane to Miami and fly back here.
But have we ever thought of maybe asking people?
They've tried, yes.
It's been discussed.
Yeah, they've tried
Because
to.
it would be cheaper to go from Valdosta to Miami or Hartsfield and then catch another flight. So you've got to wait on
It's been discussed, but it's like Tim and everybody's saying, it's not a matter of leaving out from here and going to destinations, it's a matter of them coming back this way.
Especially since we have tower control here.
Right.
See, it's
Which is
not-
which is why they do that direct flight to Atlanta, because when they go there, they take just as many people back as they do take there, if not more. I mean, I've flown many times and we'll go there with 35, 40 people, sometimes 50, and come back with the same amount. You know, so I mean,
Because
yeah, it's worth it.
Tallahassee has a fairly decent sized little airport, it's not a big airport, it's not an international airport, which you can go quite a few places, we can't, you know, do they have the private one down those? Like a private pilot, or is it because we're gonna, you know, take some possible?
Yeah, if you're
Take
gonna
some risks out of somebody in fact private, but.
if you try to charter a plane,
Owns more property than I do.
Yes, ma'am.
I know a young family that's thinking of moving to this area, and one of their things, they want to live in the city, they want to live in a walkable neighborhood. We have a real sidewalk problem in this neighborhood. So what's the city council going to do about the sidewalk problem?
Well, right now, we're actually working on William Street to extend that sidewalk to meet all the way down to where Woodrow Wilson is.
We still can't walk the library.
So, talking about the new library location?
If you look on the,
But you guys want to
plan, Carnell Road, there's a plan for sidewalks on Carnell Road and Northside Drive, if you look it up. We have also, we have a sidewalk problem. We also have a financial problem too. No one wants taxes raised. No one wants cuts in services, but we also want things. So what we have to do is find a way to pay for it without putting the city in debt. Some things that we, like, that's why it's important that we keep passing these SPLOST referendums, because that's how we pay for a lot of sidewalk projects, a lot of our road widening projects, a lot of our water and sewer issues that we were having a lot of, but now we're addressing them. So that's why it's so important that meetings like this and citizens like you who want to be educated about what's going on, talk to your neighbors and talk to people and encourage them to come to these meetings, because that's where you can find out things that are going on in the city, things that have been improved, things that we're still working on. But like I said, SPLOST is probably the best thing we have going right now as far as to getting those projects done, because without them, if the city had to pay for them, you'd probably be looking at higher prices on other things if we didn't have them, or we would just be doing without them. But as far as Carnell Road, come to the library, there's a sidewalk project that's in the works that was passed on the last SPLOST, wasn't it?
No, it's in this block.
This
It's in this block. One that's coming up.
That one and Northside Drive.
That's why it's important to,
Let me add a little something about sidewalks. We have built more sidewalks in the last 5 years than most we had anywhere else. Over on Griffin Avenue, we put in sidewalks. We put in sidewalks on Urban Avenue. We have put sidewalks on Troop Street and Martin Luther King.
we got 3 sidewalks going in right now on Vonson Drive to Park Avenue on Lee Street, Old Stateville to Griffin Avenue on Ulmer Avenue sidewalk going in, the Lake Park Road existing sidewalk to South Street that we're redoing. So I mean, we've got a lot of sidewalks that are going in and being redone and widening. That William Street one, that's extending to Woodrow Wilson. Once that meets, then you got sidewalks that are going. And I think in 2 years, we got sidewalks that's gonna go on Oak Street where they kind of came up the one way, and you got it where it stops at, I think it's Alden, if I'm not mistaken. They're gonna extend that sidewalk right all the way down to Woodrow Wilson bypass, that Woodrow Wilson cut through. They're gonna extend it all the way down to the school, which means, I've already talked to them about my mailbox, but it's gonna stand all the way down, and I'm wanting it. I was like, look, come take my mailbox, you know, 'cause we need sidewalks all the way down there. So once you get that, you make a right turn, and now all of a sudden you're all connected, and things are starting to happen, and sidewalks are going in. It's just a matter of, we're trying to do it, like Councilman Howard said, we're trying to do it within a budget without raising the millage rate. Because, I mean, we can do a lot of things if we just keep raising the millage rate, you know, we can definitely do that, but we don't wanna do that. We wanna keep it low, so everybody's happy. But at the same time, we're trying to spread what we've got out and hit different, and whenever they do this, I will tell you, there's 7 districts. And when they do this, they look at all the districts, okay? 6 districts and 7 is county at large, okay, city at large. But when they do this, they look at everybody's projects and they think, okay, in District 5, we had this, in District 6, we had this, in District 1, this was done. And they try to make sure they spread it out so that everybody gets a little piece of the pie at least every year, if not every other year. So I may not have anything this year happening in my district except for the, you know, your 2019 LMIGs that are going on here, which is dark lines, which is resurfacing, and that's fine. I need some resurfacing done. But 2 years from now, I'm gonna get a nice sidewalk put in, you know? So it's kind of, you know, so it's kind of one of those, you have to, so we are. But look, y'all can go to our website and see every bit that's going on.
Ms. Sandra, Tim, and then Kevin.
Well, I'll listen to the fact that you brought up about the millage rate and so forth, about getting streets, getting sidewalks and everything like that, and not going on. I do notice that we do live in Loudoun County, and once we do improve the areas, like, take for instance, the True Street area got improved, and all of them, they got a sidewalk on them. Now, all those houses, their taxes went up because the property value went up. And the city did do a lot to get money doing that, and also the county. The millage rate went up, and the county got more money, but the county did not put anything towards helping that. So maybe we can reverse the millage rate or find some kind of way that the city can get more money off of the, you know, when you get the value of the houses for all the work they do in the city. See what I'm saying? Like, we improved the area in the city. So by improving that, we also increased the property tax for the citizens. Well, the city can charge so much now because the house went up, but the county can too. The city puts all the effort in and all the finance, but the county doesn't. So what I'm saying is why maybe we get where we can fix the millage rate where the city citizens pay less millage rate to the county since they get a large cut. But they don't give back to them. You know what I'm saying? If I improve my property because I increase my value, the city went in there, they paved the street, they made it look better. So that means the value went up in the house. My property tax went up. By doing that, I am paying a higher millage rate, a higher amount. Same millage rate, higher amount. I'm also doing that with the county. And the county gets much more than what the city gets. But the county invested nothing in effort to improve it. So what I was thinking, maybe we could try to look at changing the millage rate that the county gets for the citizens in the city.
It's probably going up because of the houses, or is it going up because of
The improvement. The improvement.
reassessment value?
Yeah,
When I
reassessment.
look at my tax time, when I look at mine, I just got my name the other day. When I see the value of my house go up, I get happy. You know, that means, you know, that means if I ever sell it, I'm on the good side. You know, so I do want the value of my house to go up. So any improvements I have, like this sidewalk coming in, if it improves the value of my house, but my millage rate's the same, naturally I am gonna pay more money because my house, my value of my house is going up.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, why should I have to pay more? Since the city is doing that, shouldn't the city get more money so they can pay for streets? We're giving more to the county. As a citizen, when I improved when my house got improved with the sidewalk and everything, I paid more money to the county rather than paying it to the city. I mean, I'm glad it went up, but to get more sidewalks in the city paid, then we need to get more money. That's all I'm saying. We get more. Do not really understand what I'm saying?
I totally understand what you're saying. I totally understand what you're saying.
So
The
it's
city
not that
made
I
the
want the value to
improvement.
go up. I want
The
to
city
get more
made the
return.
improvement. Your home value went up, but the county gets more of that money. I understand what you're saying. You're trying to see why the city can't get it. And I think that's part of an agreement that we're gonna have to, we're either gonna have to go back to the table and see how we can fix that agreement. Right now, that's something I can't give you an answer on right now because I don't have an answer. Tim?
Well, as much as I love the thought of it, that we could do something like that, realistically, when you think about what our property taxes pay for, we know in the city, it pays for, it goes into the general fund, and 60% of our general fund is public safety, fire department, police department. County's not much different. The monies that go into the county's general funds, while it's different because of the structure, because you have constitutional officers with the sheriff's department, the tax commissioners, court system. But I would imagine, what little bit of knowledge I do have about the county's budget, that the bulk of those property dollars go to fund public safety, our single biggest expenses. Like the city, cost of doing business in this, for the city of Valdosta is going up. It costs us more today than it did 20 years ago to fund those departments. The same thing is going to be true for the county. They're going to have see those same increases. So while you could certainly make an argument that an increase in value in city property should be offset by a decrease in county taxes, overall, you'll never get that mathematical formula to work because they've got to provide services too. They're mandated by the state to provide those services. So it'd be fun to sit down and debate it, but I don't ever see that happen.
Well, I've seen it in other cities, and other cities have talked to me, so you may not want to sit down and do it. So if you're saying you don't want to sit down and
No.
But
I'm
I'm
open to talking.
What I'm just saying is, talking with other cities and counties, their millage rate, they've adjusted.
There are some.
And there are some who have done that, and it's working fine. Their counties, they're operating just fine. And their cities are too. It's just that the city is, since they're putting more in, they get more back on their return that they're putting in. And others are doing that as well.
But I'm not convinced that let's use your example hypothetically, the sidewalk, I don't think a sidewalk is the result, or the increased value is the result of the sidewalk going in. I mean, I guess we could argue that all day long. What's happened is the increase in values that I've already seen in so many cases before the Board of Equalization is, it's just, we don't have enough tax assessors to assess everybody's properties every year. So what's happened is, they do a new block. We've provided them as much as we can possibly afford in technology and being able to reassess properties every so often. But I think that's about a 6 to 10 year cycle. So what's recently happened is a lot of folks have had their properties reassessed after 5 or 6 years, and they've seen an increase in that value, which obviously increases property taxes. But, to your point a minute ago, I mean, some of those same people who say, tax assessor says my house is worth $150,000, well, they want to sell it for $250,000. They think in their mind it's valued a lot more than it really is, except when the tax assessor gives us something close. So, my point in saying that is, I mean, I'd be more than willing to grab a few other commissioners, set up a meeting, sit down and talk about this, but I'm not convinced that a sidewalk is increasing the value of the home. I think it's just that rotation that we're seeing come through right now.
So you're saying it's the tax assessors?
So you're saying that when we get our permits, that the city doesn't know that we're doing property related to home properties? You can't get an assessment from that? We just doing that just to give money?
No. It's noticed, but it probably won't be that year, or probably not even the next. It'll be picked up eventually.
Yeah, your house is not my house.
We're talking about Yeah, I've done 4 upgrades to my house in the last 7 years. And each time you have to predict. That's correct. And what you pay for, what you do, and what they bring back tells you what the upgraded value of your home is. So why we wait 10 years?
But that's 2 different departments.
Yeah.
The inspection and community development department handles those upgrades, those permits that you're talking about. The board of assessors is the ones that goes out and assesses the value of your home. So, I mean, but I see your point. I mean, a common, thought would be, well, the permit office
need to work together.
But that's a double-edged sword too, because as an elected official, then I get people improvement and here you don't want to raise my taxes.
That's right. And we spend more money at the OPA running the tax, the education department, than what it bring in. We supplement it, that pay for the citizens. Yeah.
Okay,
It's more just it's a statement. Coming here, I see more elected officials than I see the citizens of our community, which to me still doesn't feel the problem. Because all of you guys know all of the issues within the city, some of the policies and procedures, but the people on the outside are still not here. What do we do to get these guys inside? That's
Has, for a number of times over the years, tried to get, down to Tampa, flying down the floor. And we wasn't, they wasn't able to get an airline willing to do that. Now, I just don't remember all the details of it, but it has been looked into.
Because I know, I'm gonna say, I have to look, I can go to reservations and look, I'm gonna say Delta, which is one Delta Air France. Delta flies to all these different airports, we wouldn't even have to get a different airline to come in. So, Delta flies to Miami, because Delta flies.
We have tried it, it has been looked into.
They go to
It just hasn't been successful to get them to do
The
it.
problem is that if the plane left here flying to say Miami,
Right.
there wouldn't be enough passengers to get on the plane to Miami and fly back.
But have we ever thought of maybe asking people?
Oh, we've been.
They've
tried. Yes.
It's been discussed.
Yeah, they've tried.
Because it would be cheaper to go from Valdosta to Miami or Hartsfield and then catch another flight. So you've got, you've got a layover.
It's been discussed, but it's like Tim and everybody's saying, it's not a matter of leaving out from here and going to destinations, it's a matter of them coming back this way.
Especially since we have tower control of the airport.
Right.
See, it's
Which is
not-
which is why they do that direct flight to Atlanta, because when they go there, they take just as many people back as they do take there, if not more. I mean, I've flown many times and we'll go there with 35, 40 people, sometimes 50, and come back with the same amount. So I mean, it's worth it.
And Tallahassee has a fairly decent sized little airport. It's not a big airport. It's not an international airport. But you can go quite a few places. We can't, do they have the privates like over there in Valdosta? Like private pilot? Or is it because we're gonna, take some possible.
Yeah, if you
Take some risks out of somebody who's back private.
if you try to charter.
Well, it's more profitable.
Yes, ma'am.
I know a young family that's thinking of moving to this area, and one of their things, they want to live in the city, they want to live in a walkable neighborhood. We have real sidewalk problems in this neighborhood. So what's the city council going to do about the sidewalk problem?
Well, right now, we're actually working on William Street to extend that sidewalk to meet all the way down to where Woodrow Wilson is.
So you still can't walk to the library.
So, talking about the new library location?
If you look on the,
But you guys want to
plan, Carnell Road, there's a plan for sidewalks on Carnell Road and Northside Drive, if you look it up. We have also, we have a sidewalk problem. We also have a financial problem too. No one wants taxes raised. No one wants cuts in services, but we also want things. So what we have to do is find a way to pay for it without putting the city in debt. Some things that we, that's why it's important that we keep passing these SPLOST referendums, because that's how we pay for a lot of sidewalk projects, a lot of our road widening projects, a lot of our water and sewer issues that we were having a lot of, but now we're addressing them. So that's why it's so important that meetings like this and citizens like you who want to be educated about what's going on, talk to your neighbors and talk to people and encourage them to come to these meetings, because that's where you can find out things that are going on in the city, things that haven't been improved, things that we're still working on. But like I said, the SPLOST is probably the best thing we have going right now as far as to getting those projects done, because without them, if the city had to pay for them, you'd probably be looking at higher prices on other things if we didn't have them. or we would just be doing without it. But as for Connell Road, come to the library, there's a sidewalk project that's in the works that was passed on the last block, wasn't it?
No, it's in this block.
This
It's in this block. One that's coming up.
One that's coming up, that one, and Northside Drive.
That's why it's important to,
Let me add a little something about sidewalks. We have built more sidewalks in the last 5 years than most we had anywhere else. On Griffin Avenue, we putting sidewalks on Urban Avenue. We done put sidewalks on Troop Street and Martin Luther King.
we got 3 sidewalks going in right now on Vonson Drive to Park Avenue on Lee Street, Old Statenville to Griffin Avenue on Ulmer Avenue sidewalk going in, the Lake Park Road existing sidewalk to South Street that we're redoing. So I mean, we've got a lot of sidewalks that are going in and being redone and widening. That William Street one, that's extending to Woodrow Wilson. Once that meets, then you got sidewalks that are going. And I think in 2 years, we got sidewalks that's gonna go on Oak Street where they kind of came up the one way, and you got it where it stops at, I think it's Alden, if I'm not mistaken. They're gonna extend that sidewalk right all the way down to Woodrow Wilson bypass, that Woodrow Wilson cut through. They're gonna extend all the way down to the school, which means, I've already talked to them about my mailbox, but it's gonna stand all the way down there, and I'm wanting it. I was like, look, come take my mailbox, 'cause we need sidewalks all the way down there. So once you get that, you make a right turn, and now all of a sudden you're all connected, and things are starting to happen, and sidewalks are going in. It's just a matter of, we're trying to do it, like Councilman Howard said, we're trying to do it within a budget without raising the millage rate. Because, I mean, we can do a lot of things if we just keep raising the millage rate, we can definitely do that, but we don't want to do that. We want to keep it low so everybody's happy. But at the same time, we're trying to spread what we've got out and hit different, and whenever they do this, I will tell you, there's 7 districts. And when they do this, they look at all the districts, okay? 6 districts and 7 is county at large, okay, city at large. But when they do this, they look at everybody's projects and they think, okay, in District 5, we had this, in District 6, we had this, in District 1, this was done. And they try to make sure they spread it out so that everybody gets a little piece of the pie at least every year, if not every other year. So I may not have anything this year happening in my district except for the, your 2019 LMIGs that are going on here, which is dark lines, which is resurfacing, and that's fine. I need some resurfacing done. But 2 years from now, I'm gonna get a nice sidewalk put in, so it's kind of, so it's kind of one of those, you have to, so we are, but look, y'all can go to our website and see every bit that's going on.
Ms. Sandra, Tim, and then Kevin.
Well, I'll listen to the fact that you brought up about the millage rate and so forth, about getting the streets, getting sidewalks and everything like that, not going on. I do notice that we do live in Loudoun County, and once we do improve the areas, like, take for instance, the Troop Street area got improved, and all of them, they got a sidewalk on them. Now, all those houses, their taxes went up because the property value went up. And the city did do a lot to get money doing that, and also the county. The millage rate went up, and the county got more money, but the county did not put anything towards helping that. So maybe we can reverse the millage rate or find some type of way that the city could get more money off of the, when you get the value of the houses for all the work they're doing in the city. See what I'm saying? Like, we improved the area in the city. So by improving that, we also increased the property tax for the citizens. Well, the city can charge so much now because the house went up, but the county can too. The city puts all the effort in and all the finance, but the county doesn't. So what I'm saying is why maybe we can fix the millage rate where the city citizens pay less millage rate to the county, since they get a large cut, but they don't give back to them. You know what I'm saying? If I improve my property because I increase my value, the city went in there, they paved the street, they made it look better. So that means the value went up in the house. My property tax went up. By doing that, I am paying a higher millage rate, a higher amount, same millage rate, higher amount. I'm also doing that with the county. And the county gets much more than what the city gets. But the county invested nothing in effort to improve. So what I was thinking, maybe we could try to look at changing the millage rate that the county gets for the citizens in the city.
Is the property going up because of the houses, or is it going up because of
The improvement. The improvement.
reassessment value?
Yeah,
The way I
reassessment.
look at it, when I look at my tax time, when I look at mine, I just got mine in the middle of the day. When I see the value of my house go up, I get happy. You know, that means, you know, that means if I ever sell it, I'm on the good side. You know, so I do want the value of my house to go up. So any improvements I have, like this sidewalk coming in, if it improves the value of my house, but my millage rate's the same, naturally I am gonna pay more money because my house, my value of my house is going up.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, why should I have to pay more? Since the city is doing that, shouldn't the city get more money so they can pay for streets? We're giving more to the county. As a citizen, when I improved when my house got improved with the sidewalk and everything, I paid more money to the county rather than paying it to the city. I mean, I'm glad it went up. But to get more sidewalks in the city paid, then we need to get more money. That's all I'm saying. We get more. Do not really understand what I'm saying?
I totally understand what you're saying. I totally understand what you're saying.
So
The
it's
city
not that
made
I
the
don't want the value to
improvement.
go up. I want
The
to
city
get more
made the
return.
improvement. Your home value went up, but the county gets more of that money. I understand what you're saying.
They
You're trying to see
they get
why the
nothing
city
to
can't keep
improve
it.
value.
And I
They
think
get
that's
more
part of
money,
an agreement that we're gonna have to, we're either gonna have to go back to the table and see how we can fix that agreement. Right now, that's something I can't give you an answer on right now because I don't have an answer. Tim?
Well, as much as I love the thought of it, that we could do something like that, realistically, when you think about what our property taxes pay for, we know in the city, it pays for, it goes into the general fund, and 60% of our general fund is public safety, fire department, police department. County's not much different. The monies that go into the county's general funds, while it's different because of the structure, because you have constitutional officers with the sheriff's department, the tax commissioners, court system. But I would imagine, what little bit of knowledge I do have about the county's budget, that the bulk of those property dollars go to fund public safety, our single biggest expenses. Like the city, cost of doing business in this, for the city of Valdosta is going up. It costs us more today than it did 20 years ago to fund those departments. The same thing is going to be true for the county. They're going to have see those same increases. So while you could certainly make an argument that an increase in value in city property should be offset by a decrease in county taxes, overall, you'll never get that mathematical formula to work because they've got to provide services too. They're mandated by the state to provide those services. So it'd be fun to sit down and debate it, but I don't ever see that happen.
Well, I've seen it in other cities, and other cities have talked to me. So you may not want to sit down and do it. That's what you're saying. You don't want to sit down and
No.
But you just
I'm
said
open to
that.
talking.
What I'm just saying is, talking with other cities and counties, their millage rate, they've adjusted.
There are some,
And
you're
there are
right.
some who have done that, and it's working fine. Their counties, they're operating just fine. And their cities are too. It's just that the city is, since they're putting more in, they get more back on their return that they're putting in. And others are doing that as well.
But I'm not convinced that let's use your example hypothetically, that the sidewalk, I don't think a sidewalk is the result, or the increased value is the result of the sidewalk going in. I mean, I guess we could argue that all day long. What's happened is the increase in values that we've already seen in so many cases before the Board of Equalization is, it's just, we don't have enough tax assessors to assess everybody's properties every year. So what's happened is, they do a little block. We've provided them as much as we can possibly afford in technology and being able to reassess properties every so often. But I think that's about a 6 to 10 year cycle. So what's recently happened is a lot of folks have had their properties reassessed after 5 or 6 years, and they've seen an increase in that value, which obviously increases property taxes. But, to your point a minute ago, I mean, some of those same people who say, tax assessor says my house is worth $150,000, well, they want to sell it for $250,000. They think in their mind it's valued a lot more than it really is, except when the tax assessor gives it something close. So, my point in saying that is, I mean, I'd be more than willing to grab a few other commissioners, set up a meeting, sit down and talk about this, but I'm not convinced that a sidewalk is increasing the value of a home. I think it's just that rotation that we're seeing come through right now.
So you're saying it's the tax assessor?
So you're saying that when we get our permits, that the city doesn't know that we're doing property related to home on the property? You can't get an assessment from that? We just doing that just to give money?
No, it's noticed, but it probably won't be that year, or probably not even the next. It'll be picked up eventually.
Yeah, your house is mine, my house. We're talking about Yeah, I've done 4 upgrades to my house in the last 7 years. And each time you have to get a permit. That's correct. And what you pay for, what you do, and what they bring back tells you what the upgraded value of your home is. So why we wait 10 years?
But that's 2 different departments.
Yeah.
The inspection and community development department handles those upgrades, those permits that you're talking about. The board of assessors is the ones that goes out and assesses the value of your home. So, I mean, but I see your point. I mean, a common, thought would be, well, the permit office
need to work together.
But that's a double-edged sword too, because as an elected official, then I get people calling, and these folks do too, saying, my goodness, I just did this improvement, and here you are raising my taxes.
That's right. And we spend more money at OPA running the tax, the education department, than what it bring in. We supplement it, that pay for the citizens.
It's more just it's a statement. Coming here, I see more elected officials than I see the citizens of my house being here, which to me still doesn't feel the problem. Because all of you guys know all of the issues within the city, some of the policies and procedures, but the people on the outside are still not here. What do we do to get these guys inside? That's my issue.
I can tell you, it's Kevin, all we can do is continue to have these meetings.
I mean, I think what you got
I think we can continue to put on Facebook, we can continue to put out flyers, but until, I'm gonna tell you this, I'm gonna say this, and I'm not gonna get too deep. People that look like me died to have, for us to have this right to vote. So until people that look like me take this serious, as serious as I take it, to go and register to the vote, to go out there and get involved in your community, because it's just as much as our community as it is anyone else. When I see that people like my dad went to Vietnam and fought and came back and still was treated the way he was. So we have to get everyone out here to realize this is all about, this nation belongs to all of us. This city right here belongs to everyone. You run for office, you go out here, you knock on doors, you ask people to come and participate. If they don't participate, there's nothing we can do. All we can do is do our job, and when they complain, we give them the information. Okay, have you contacted them? They say no. Have you came to a meeting? They say no. Who have you asked? No. They would rather talk to people who don't have the answers and take secondhand information than to get it from the people who sit in on the meetings, sit in on the policy decisions, and go from there. All we can do as elected officials is try to represent the city the best way we know how, the county the best way we know how, and trust that everyone out here believes that we're gonna do that.
Well, I guess.
And so I really, to answer your question, I can answer it off camera, but I can't answer it on camera. I promise you, I'll give you the answer that you want.
But no, I guess what, are we making all the strides possible? Are we knocking on doors? Are we putting flyers in there? Are we doing all that we can to get these guys?
The question earlier question earlier was
I'm sorry.
asked by George was that, you know, and one of the things we probably missed out on was radio. But how much we radio bring, I don't know. And then Councilman Vickers said, well, if you bring in food, you probably get more people. My thing is, I shouldn't have to bring in food to get your concern, to get you to come and address issues and problems and concerns you have. If you have that big concern, that big of an issue, then it shouldn't take food to bring you to come and go, you know what? I'm about to go address what I have an issue with. I'm about to go find an answer to this problem. I'm about to go, but it also takes being more consistent, like, you know, Councilwoman Tilly was saying, is that I think it's going to have to take, and I know Councilman Vickers said that he's tried and tried and tried, but we're going to have to be more consistent. You know, maybe maybe a commissioner and a councilman gets together and does this together and says, hey, you know what, we're about to bring this thing together and do one every month, but not the same people. It's just between all of us, we can rotate this thing all the time. It just has to be more consistent as all, and I don't mind doing one every other month. I don't mind doing one every third month.
I think you hit the key word. I think it's consistency. I think maybe it started at one point and then it will come with another board, but then I think there's a big distrust between local government and the citizens of Valdosta. So do I really want to go there when I get my issue taken care of? Will they listen to what I have to say? So I just want to.
That's why we didn't come in here with an agenda. We just came in here and said this is open for anybody to ask questions, and that, you know, all this is simply so I can say, hey, yes, we're doing that, you know, and it's just more or less just facts in the sense of showing, you know, that yes, we are or whatever, or if I need to reference to some information or whatever, but.
A lot of it's complacency. I fought this for 45 years with homeowner associations in Southern California. It doesn't matter what you look like, it's complacency. A lot of people don't want to get involved, even when they come to this meeting. They don't. They'll complain, and then they, like you said, they'll just stay home and listen to their neighbor. Hearsay, and just blow things out of proportion. It's sad. I hear what you're saying. It's a countrywide problem, and it's complacency and ignorance. And it has nothing to do with what you look like, nothing to do with your background. I've experienced it. I've gone door to door, and people just don't care. And it doesn't matter what the socioeconomic status is, what the age group is. I've done it, and I can tell you now. Maybe Georgia's different than California. We just moved here 2.5 months ago, but I feel for you because you could even bring food. Well, that might help a little bit, but it doesn't. But really, I mean, if you've got to incent people by paying them to come to a meeting or feeding them, then there's something wrong. But it all boils down to human nature and complacency and ignorance to a certain extent.
So, the guy in the red had a question first. Jimmy, you had a question first?
Yes, I did.
Okay, you do.
Okay. My question is that with the squash, how, maybe I know I'm illiterate when it comes to the squash, and it seems like it belongs to the city, but how does it impact the county when they have no voting power with the city? They can't vote there. It's interesting for me to try to understand and comprehend what's going on with the squash.
Well, the county is a county initiative, the city initiative, in the sense of the county has projects and the city has projects, and it's all come together. And the SPOS itself, when we pass it in November, then that money, that 1 cent, that 1% there is what goes to those SPOS funds, those projects that are happening. So it's a county initiative though. So the county initiates it, the SPOS itself. Am I correct on this?
They do. Yes.
And they call for it, the county calls for it, and then the city also comes in with their projects too. And when the county, do I have to be population? There's a lot more to it. And I'm not gonna sit here and say I know it all, because these guys have been in a lot longer than I have, so I'm smart enough to look at them for guidance Scotty and them can talk to you probably more, Councilman Vickers on it, but it is a county initiative. They're the ones that call for a splosh, and then we come in and all together we set up our projects. And if you want to later on, I've got the breakdown of how much like Dasher gets, Lake Park gets. I've got the breakdown up here, the percentage of how, and I actually got the PowerPoint of how it's all done. If you ever want to look at that.
I understand that. What gets me is that what gives them the power to reap benefits when they don't have voting power.
I think what he's saying is they can't vote for mayor and stuff like that because they're candidate. I think that's what he's talking about.
That's what you see.
See, a lot of people say this, a lot of people think if we don't vote, a lot of people think since we voted in November, it's more than just the mayor and the council. They don't realize that we do have the Board of Education and we have the SPLOSH. SPLOSH is not just a city voting bill. See what I'm saying? Everything is just a city, people vote in the city, but it's not. So we gotta get you to understand, only the members that are running, the people that are running are city officials. But the, should we say, representatives are a different thing. It's not, it's like a, should I say a commission or something, or it's a law, it's a law, it's a law.
It's kind of come to the city, I was in the military guy. It was incomprehensible for me to see that only the city folks can vote for it. And so I guess that's where all the complex comes in.
But I think that's just like any other municipality, they only have their guidelines and their boundaries of who they can vote for. The county is just we live in the county, so the way that I take it is that only city individuals vote for the city of Valdosta, only people that vote in the city of Tipton vote in the city of Tipton. I mean, it's just a structure of what we govern ourselves by. Jurisdiction. It's just a jurisdiction.
When you speak legislation.
When we look at SPLOSH is just countywide, and we got, 4 cities in this county, correct? So, five cities in this county, so all 5 cities now get a chance to, or 4, get a chance to entertain the projects for SPLOSH. So they get to say, hey, SPLOSH, I want these certain things, I want these certain things, and I want these certain things. They then give it to the county is the one that, come in agreement, right?
Well, technically, if you read the SPLOSH referendum, when you go in the vote, a lot of the terms are going to be general, but you're going to see a list of how Lowndes County wants to spend their portion of the SPLOSH proceeds, how much the city of Valdosta wants to spend on its SPLOSH proceeds, as well as all the other cities. So it's telling the voter, countywide voter, that these are the projects we're going to fund with this SPLOSH tax if you approve it. So when you're voting on SPLOSH, you're not voting city, county, you're voting on a list of projects we're going to fund with that money.
Mr. Baker?
I would just like to mention, somebody talked about complacency about the people, gave a lot of reasons in terms of why people don't come out or get involved, and he says across the nation, which is very true. But I just want to add one other thing to what was said, and that is fear. A lot of people fear even coming here tonight to speak on their issue, believe it or not. And when you do not control the economic power in your own community, it creates problems. When you cannot speak out on your job for fear of losing that job, that creates some problems with people. I know of a situation I won't mention tonight because it may start some other conversations. But when people feel that they cannot step up to the plate to give their grievances without being retaliated against, then they will not come to meetings such as this. I guarantee you, I've interviewed within the last few weeks, 12 people have issues in their workplace. but they can't come here tonight or they won't come here. And I guess to go back, there's a lot of fear, not only here, but it's across the nation. So short form of what I'm saying is that when we say people don't care, they're complacent, or whatever it may be, don't leave out fear. A lot of people are afraid in this, not only here, but in this country, from those who are in power and the ones who are without power. Thank you.
We have a couple of things that we are getting ready to consider on our at our meeting Thursday, just to let people know how much we care about our community and our city. We have a moratorium we get ready to put out, limiting the amount of liquor stores that's in our city. Moratorium on vape shops, because we don't know the long-term effects and stuff it's gonna have. Those are all the things that, some of the things, we talk about, like you said, people don't know, people think we don't care. A lot of stuff that we talk about that we don't get a chance to talk about until it actually happens in our community. Councilwoman Tudor may go there, Councilman Davis or Bean or Scotty may go and talk to someone about it, but we can't speak on it until it's actually get ready to take effect. But some of these things that we have control over in our city, that our citizens can speak out on. We just want everyone to, now we know everyone's not going to be involved, but the more people we get involved in this decision making, not saying you're going to agree with this, because everybody's not going to agree, but like I said, it's our job to do the best job for the city that we can do. So a lot of the rumors and stuff that you get, I would rather for one person who's informed and has a lot of contact with the community, I'd rather for them to call and ask someone who knows a question than to go and co-sign with something on Facebook or go along with something that someone else says because you're friends. When you can simply pick up the phone and call Councilman G, because all of our numbers are is open to the public. So I would rather for you guys to do that. Now, I'm not saying you guys, I'm saying people. If you have 1,000 Facebook friends, I would rather for you to say, hold on, so I hit the like button or share this post to say, let me call Councilman Howard, let me call Councilman G, let me call someone that knows the truth. Because once you like it, more than likely, them 1,000 people are going to say, because they depend on you for your research. They're going to say, Kevin knows it, so the city must be about to shut down something. And we don't have the power. We don't have the power to do a lot of things that people think we have the power to do. We can't do it.
I just like to, my name is David. I've been here about 27 years now. I got here, I retired from the military. And I moved out on Main Street. And I moved out there with a 2-lane highway, everybody made. And then made it a 4-lane highway, everybody made. Then they tore the 4-lane up and put the sidewalk in between the two, because they had no place to turn left and go on the road in the traffic. I think we do a poor job of constructing on Main, freeway.
It's still Georgia.
Well, I'm just saying, I think it was done wrong from living out there. And so, my question is, I'm retired twice now. And one of the major reasons I retired second time was because I got tired of wanting to make some more. We keep talking about bringing jobs back also. What we don't get the resources, man, these positions. Talking about rural Cook County, Berry County, talking about the Mill County, where they come from. They come straight down 125 down in the Meadows. I used to spend lights from Forest Extension to Oak Street Extension, just waiting on to move up in the morning between 7:45 and about 8:30. We're gonna bring new jobs to that also. We're gonna bring more people to that also. 20-some odd years ago, I said they need to have an expressway come right for you to move people around town so they go back to see it. I don't know what we do now because they put more subdivisions up. Don't y'all see that? We just gonna be running just sitting still, but we don't start putting something around us. You can go to one of our offices and get off on the bus and in the city. We gotta be able to move people around without having a whole lot of traffic building up. We gonna have a mess 25 years from now. I don't know what we're gonna do, we're gonna do business then, fine, I don't care, but when we do get them in, we know where our resources are gonna come from. Most of them gonna come from those kind of like this mentioned. And how they gonna get there? In downtown, you gotta open a building on 4th Avenue, open a warehouse. Sometimes when somebody don't have the resources, to put something in, where they gonna get the resources from? Yeah. You got down there on Oak Street, you got the, what was it, some factory that used to be there.
Conversion.
No, down by Oak Street and Tune, down that area. One, I think it's, River Street, that's what it is.
Okay, you talking about.
Yeah, all that's open space. People gonna put something there sooner or later, but they need resources for it. Most of them, you don't live off the interstate, they're gonna come right down Bemis Highway. You talking about a mess. I moved there, and I thought I was out of town, and now it's not out of town. Pretty soon, all that's gonna go right on the Press City, right on up to Nashville, and it's gonna be it's gonna be like a 2-lane highway. What are we doing? What are we planning to get people to move in Valdosta, to keep us moving? Because the reason I don't want to go up, one reason these people probably moved from where they were because it was so congested to move around.
We live in that. We don't.
But I can tell you, we don't have any sex over babies.
I'm saying,
I know what you're saying.
it's talking to the county. I mean, we got a fish here.
We got
a fish here, y'all. Have y'all, if you guys haven't discussed that, and I know I ain't the brightest person in here, then you're all behind the power curve.
I think that we first gotta figure out what our identity is here in Valdosta, because we want these big time, multi-million-dollar organizations or corporations to come here, which is gonna bring more jobs, more people, more traffic.
I have a huge family, and when they come to visit me, I put the very close ones with me because my home is so big. The rest of them, I get a place for them downtown. If you plan on something to come to visit you, provide them a way to get some resources there. And we aren't doing that. We're not even thinking about it. All we want to do is bring people here. But I don't want people here we can't move. That's the reason I won't keep.
I will tell you, I'm gonna write that down, and I'll talk to, Mayor Gale about that, and I'll talk to Mark, and I'll reach out to Bill Slaughter, Chairman Slaughter, and just see, is there talks? Has there been a vision? I know Matt Martin with us and our planning and zoning, I know he has looked ahead years, and I'm sure y'all's commission, with planning and zoning county has looked ahead. I've already talked about with, street that you, north side, that if we ever had to, there's a possibility of connecting north side all the way through to where it hits, I believe, this park, if I'm not mistaken. So we've already discussed certain things that can be done, certain things that can be connected to keep traffic moving in case we do run into these issues. So I'm sure it's been discussed. But I definitely, you bring up something that I would like to also know the answer to, so I'll definitely look into it and everything, but you do bring it up. I mean, Scotty has been in this a lot longer than I have, so he may actually, since we're talking about Bemis and out that way, that's more of a county area too, so he may actually have something, or he may be as close as I am, and may have to inquire.
I just find it very convenient for the county and the city to share spot money. And the spot money does things. And you haven't discussed ways of getting people around. I mean, that's the city and the county together.
Have you looked at the list?
And we have.
Have you looked at the SPOS list?
Oh, yeah.
There is a good bit of stuff on the SPOS.
That's what I'm saying.
The biggest one is there's an overpass on, that's still on the list on St. Augustine.
Yes.
But, we have a regional commission that helps us with planning. And it's kind of like the chicken or the egg type mentality. I mean, we try to predict. I mean, James Road is a perfect example, guys. I mean, we heard rumors, we had sources, we heard these things coming, we ran out there to the county, we got our transmission line out of the way, y'all can't have water and sewer, we four-laned the road, we waited, we were excited, and it all fell apart. And the the community leaders caught a lot of flack over that.
You got to make out recession.
So, you know,
Snake oil sellers anyway.
so I mean, you know, finding and trying to predict where people are gonna want to go is very challenging and difficult. So our challenge, our big challenge, and we put water and sewer in areas and try to promote commercial and residential growth to that direction and kind of steer people, or do we let them take the initiative and then we follow? So I think right now, I mean, it's a great topic, and I think we need to have further discussion on it, but I don't think that we've laid back and not thought about it.
This is our road, and the city who lived there, we're the one that feel the brunt of it now, even though we're not bringing anything in.
And I will tell you, that the city and the county, they do meet, what is it, once a month? And they discuss things like this, so this is something.
Good, you know, what are you talking about?
Yes, sir.
I have a question. I don't understand why it is that all of the liquor stores, not all of them, but most of the liquor stores, you don't have to have any credit. All these businesses are in the black community, all of them. If you go down North Side, Ashley Street, all the way downtown, all in the black community, all you see is liquor stores and all these other stores. Why is that?
I can answer that for you. We had, I met with several business owners, a couple of weeks ago. When we were talking about developing the south side of town, they were talking about the price difference on where they can purchase a building and where they can buy land and how much it is on the south side of town versus on the north end of town. It's cheaper. And that's why we implemented that moratorium. So we won't be able to put any more liquor stores and vape shops in the city limits anywhere. If one closes, you're more than welcome to open another one up. But we're only gonna have so many. The amount that we have now, that's it. Because that's one thing I said, we're destroying our communities. We putting them in impoverished neighborhoods, places where we have poverty. And so that's one of the reasons I brought that up to the mayor and council. So that problem is about to be eliminated Thursday. We're actually about to sign it. But that property over there is so much cheaper than it is on the north end of town. So I figure if we can not allow them to come in the city, Scotty, them can have all of them they want in the county. But we don't want any more in the city because I know and I see the disservice it does to poor communities and communities that don't really need to have it, because that's not a service that we don't have. Everybody, if they want to get a drink, they know how to get it. We don't need any more. Actually, we try. I would like to close a couple.
So is the notion that it's more liquor stores on the south end or?
Well, in the city limits. It's more in the city limits than it is
Because I see
in the county.
that on this side as well, on every side of town, there's liquor stores.
But that's what I'm saying. They're in the city limits.
Listen, all you gotta do is drive through the black community. They all things that make us poor, we buy, and things that keep us poor, we buy, and they all sold by white folks. Now don't try to sugarcoat that.
It's 11 liquor stores in the city limits right now. One of them is address is Venus. One on North Side Drive across from Lakeside Apartment. One on the corner North Side of Venus. One on Venus. They have one out there across from, one across from the old Wendy's. It's 11. I'm saying I know all of them. You have Jackson. I know exactly where they are because when I reached out to the mayor and council about them, I wanted to see exactly how many we had. And so we had actually had one that hadn't played any business license in 2 years. So we need to get ready to be on the road because of our studies we went out. So I'm well aware of where they are and whether they're spread out, but they are all in the city limits. Well, the majority of them in the city limits. We don't have as many in the county, which I figure they get ready to come because we get ready to stop them opening here. So get ready, Scott. But we get ready to, just same thing with the vape shops. We don't want to open up and make this a hub for things that we don't know the long-term effects on. We already know the long-term effects of drinking it, but these vape shops and smoke shops, they're new, but we've seen instances of where they're killing people recently in Georgia, so we're gonna stop that from being a new haven. We're not gonna be a haven for it. Valdosta is not. So those are some of the things that we proactively reached out and said we're gonna stop. So I hope that answers your question. But as for the property value, it's cheaper to get the property over there, so they're able to open them up and put them in those neighborhoods because the property is cheap. Yes, sir.
Speaking as a citizen, not through my employment, Valdosta, Lowndes County are not bicycle-friendly cities. We have 4th, 5th, 6th grade youngsters, they don't even know how to ride a bike. Biking is a healthy activity, it's a family activity, it's a senior activity, and we do not have enough designated routes or bike lanes to safely traverse, including the students that go to Valdosta State as another whole entity. And all I'm indicating to you, somewhere, somehow, it's got to start in government to say, this road is going to have a sidewalk that we've talked about, but this road is going to have a designated bike lane. So people can safely traverse back and forth safely on a bicycle. And this county road or area is going to have bike trails so that we can link community areas via bicycles, even if it has to go through different rights of ways. But we do not have a safe city or a safe county for this activity. And it encompasses the entire community, and it's something that has the value of family together, exercises, non-carbon, out in the sunshine, out in enjoying the assets of nature. And this can only start if somebody steps up and says, well, in this particular street, we're going to put in a bike lane. And then next year, we'll put in 2 streets and we'll put bike lanes in. We're going to put in this subdivision, but we want to have a bike lane. You can't go on Bay Tree, you can't go on Gornto without taking your life, St. Augustine's life in hand. And their major thoroughfares are great. But somewhere, somehow, we have to take the first step forward. The first step forward and get the youngsters and get the seniors and get the families riding together throughout the city, That is the thing. Let some of the kids have a way to go to school on a bicycle, for heaven's sakes, and that type of thing. Go to church with your family on a bicycle. That is just what I'm talking about. That's something that can only start here with government saying, yes, we listen to you, we're going to take a start, and the future will be our asset.
Ben, to answer you, I mean, we've heard that, and we are looking into that, which is why we started the Valdosta-Lowndes County Comprehensive Master Plan that we've got going on. And, you know, which is why we're trying to look at, trying to hear from the public, trying to hear what their ideas are, you know, where they would like to see bike lanes, aquatics, whatever it might be. And we're spending a lot of money trying to gather all that information so we can take a look at it and see where we need to go, and see what we need to do, see what we need to focus on. Woodrow Wilson actually has a bike lane that was incorporated with it whenever they made that extension and that cut through. That's also part of that Gornto. When they take that Gornto and extend it all the way down and connect to YMCA eventually, they're going to extend that bike lane all the way through, so that way they're connected all the way around to the mall area over there. So there are connections happening. There are things happening that will help out with that. The Oak Street that I mentioned is to have that to where they can eventually possibly put a bike lane on Oak Street to extend that all the way from college, all the way to Valdosta Middle School. You know, so that it is happening, and we are, because I'm a biker. You know, I do triathlons and stuff. So I go to Snake Nation Road and everything else because fortunately out there is nothing but John Deere tractors and cows and stuff. And every now and then you may get a dog after you or whatever, but you know, you see a vehicle from time to, you know, but at the same time, I go out there to bike because we don't have those lanes in the city. But I promise you, it's being heard, which is why, you know, we have all this going on, which is why we're meeting and, you know, and because they're trying to figure out what's the best way to do this. What's the best way to take the money and what do we hit first to make this better? You know, because there's so many things we want to do, but it's a matter of what has to be done in that order. We've got about 2 minutes left because I want to make sure we end at 8.
Yes, sir.
I just would like to thank you all for putting the meeting on. And I strongly suggest, I don't hardly listen to old-fashioned radio as they used to have. I was on radio for over 20 years. And I do know a lot of church folk would love to hear when you're having meetings like this. So you may want to consider some of the gospel stations to hit the heartbeat of the community. Just throwing it out. That's all. Thank you very much.
Any other questions? If you have not signed in, we would love for you to sign in, and that's just simply so we can, you know, once again, just be able to email you information, or you can contact us, you know, and I got some cards to give you if you need a card or whatever. My phone is open, it's always on, and so anytime you need anything, you're more than welcome to call. And I say it all the time, I'll try to have the answer for you, but if I can, I'll find the answer. You know, so I won't just go, I don't know. You know, I'll at least find it and I will call you back. But
I don't have a question, but I do want to make a statement. I think this is a step in the right direction for the city of Valdosta, the town hall meetings. I think they will, to get it back started, I think it's going to take some time. You may not have a lot of people here today. I think each and every time that you guys stay with it, stay consistent with it, I believe that we'll see the numbers increase each and every time. But I applaud you guys for doing it. I applaud you guys for doing it together. This is amazing because now we get a chance to hear from you guys, from your mouth, telling us what's going on in the city. Because sometimes I think we believe that everything is just going to happen just like that. Not understanding that it takes money, it takes time, it takes planning and all of this stuff. So by you guys giving us that information, and now we can take it from here, take it back out into the community and spread the word. So I appreciate you guys.
At the end of the city council, when we have commissions, they have citizens to be heard, or citizens wishing to be heard. Why don't you call this meeting instead of town hall, say, citizens wishing to be heard? Let's don't call it town hall, call it what we call it everywhere else, and then, you know, people line up, anybody else want to be heard, they come, they have their thing to say, pave my road, or don't pave my road, or there's gangs, or dogs, or whatever in my neighborhood, and call these citizens to be heard, and let people know.
That would be the name of our next. That would be the name of our next. But also, like I said, I want to thank each and every one of y'all for coming out.
thank y'all.
This is very important. Like I said, we ask that y'all stay engaged, contact your neighbors when you see these emails and Facebook posts and these flyers on your mailbox. Don't throw them in the trash. Because I know it was one on your mailbox. Y'all make sure y'all just tell people. Like I said, I take this serious. I really, and Councilman Gibbs and I text and talk probably about 3 times a week. Kids same age, we want the best for our city, we want the best for our community. And y'all just stay engaged. Y'all, like I said, call, phone call, email. If y'all don't want to send it, make up an email address, send something fake. If you have a question you don't want to ask you, don't know you asked. Send a text from a burner phone or anything. We want to get the information so we're able to answer these questions for you. And we do want to end and start on time, but if we end up staying here another 30 minutes, we do. But tonight, it didn't seem that way, so We're gonna, end this on time. We have cards. If you didn't sign in, we ask that you please sign in. And we're gonna end this thing with Councilman Gibbs leading us in a prayer again. On our way out, we started on prayer, we're gonna end it on prayer. You don't have to be long, you can do the sinner's prayer.
Dear Father, just thank you for this afternoon. Thank you for tonight, Lord. Thank you for the citizens that came out, Lord, to express their concerns, their ideas, the thoughts that they have on making our city better, to make our city great, to make our city one, Lord, with the county and Valdosta coming together. Thank you, Lord, for everyone that has played a part in making the night go well. Help us, God, to take our ideas, take the thoughts, the things that we have, continue to put it to work, so therefore we can be a blessing to others, and therefore we can have one big, great life together, Lord. In your name I pray. Amen. Be on my card.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Thank you for all you do.
Appreciate it.